Hello, in this how to document, I want to show you how to work with the new migration and the new questionnaires in SAP Sports One, which are available since March 2023. What are the key differentiators? With the new release of the questionnaires, the old functionality of the questionnaires will get obsolete. That means you have to decide when you want to move your past questionnaires and the answers of the past questionnaires into the new environment. The new questionnaires offer a lot of cool new functionalities, such as checkboxes, radio buttons, free text as answer types to questions, multi-language support, advanced scheduling capabilities, user-defined response windows to provide answers, or new SAC models for advanced reporting. To give you an idea, let's have a look what you will see in those setup. Talking about the new question types, you realize we define in the new catalog, under catalog questions, the questions such as doctor appointment, and you see here that their user has to choose from a radio button. If you want to see the doctor today, he can choose yes please or no not necessary, make it obsolete, and activate the question. As also said, it's a translation service integrated, so that we can ask the German question, möchtest du heute einen Arzt sehen? Or the simplified Chinese writing when the doctor appointment is needed. The different answer types will appear on the mobile devices of the receivers of the questions depending on the language settings of their devices. In addition, it said that there are also different possibilities for the questionnaires. So now it's possible, if you schedule a team training, to send a questionnaire on a detail before the training or after the training. And you can even decide in which time, after the event, before the event, the questionnaire type and the timeline that should be selected. So these are proper typical questionnaires that you can use. Now getting into the next question is where to find more information. Yes, the new questionnaire of Sports One have a new setup, and you find all this information and also a migration guide on the SAP Help Portal. So how to get again to the SAP Help Portal? That's also a very simple process, as you all might know. If you click on Sports One on the button Need Help, you navigate into the bar of Sports One Help, Online Help. In the Online Help, you find the information also with a nice introductional video in the section on what's new. And if you scroll down, you will see all the latest changes which we ship with nice videos which have been created by my colleagues. And of course, you find also here in the section of the questionnaires the update on the new questionnaire setup for the enhanced questionnaires. Also, there's a separate section, not only the video, but also a separate section for enhanced questionnaires, where you find even more information like what are questionnaire permissions, and of course, moving existing questions and questionnaires. This does not mean that what I show you here is not in context of that information displayed here on the Online Help. I really recommend and suggest you should watch that information. And this video is just in addition, some additional benefits that you might leverage. So that's why this how to document is structured into 4 chapters: administration and activation, preparation of the migration of existing questionnaires and questions, and of course then the first impacts on your SAC stories. What is necessary when you activate the new questionnaires? First of all, you will need to activate and define the settings of the standard language, and after that you need to assign new roles and assessments. I'll give you an example. Now if I navigate into the new setup, you will see under Admin, Settings, Questionnaire Default Language the possibility to choose your default language of your system. If you're a German customer and most of your receivers will be using German language, then I suggest to choose the German setup. If you're working internationally, choose English. So I did here as a pre-setup English as your setup. Now after having done the initial decision, you need to maintain your user rights that you get access to the new questionnaire functionality. and to work with that. Select your user under admin user, press on the three dots, and then check on roles that you have the role again on the performance analyst, but also in the access rights enhanced questionnaires. And here you maintain the roles: questionnaire catalog, questionnaires, and the responses and answering opportunities for the receiving persons. So right now we want to maintain the exercise, the questionnaire catalog with all the questions. That's why I grant myself a read and write access so that I am able to maintain the catalog. I recommend that only few people have access to maintain the catalog, and many people have access to read content of the catalog. The same is relevant for the questionnaires. So do you want to be able to consume existing questionnaires, or are you the person in the club that is creating questionnaires for others to reuse? So in this case, I grant myself also the rule of the questionnaires. Last but not least, you need to decide if you need to have access to the answers that people gave on a questionnaire, and I want to have access to read access to all the players or all persons, which could be staff and players. And I want to have also write permissions. Write permissions allow you to update and correct data which might have been entered in a questionnaire, or if a person forgot to reply, you on their behalf can maintain entries for the setup. So now we have done already all the necessary steps which you need to define when we talk about the administration. Now we get to the next step. It's the migration of the past questionnaires. Why do we do the migration? Because you want to save the answers that you did in the past and transfer those answers into the new environment. That's why you have to decide and run the migration in 3 steps. First step, you need to get an overview on the existing questions. Second, you start the migration wizard, which we ship. And then last but not least, you do the post-migration activities. Step 1, overview of existing questions. After the migration, the new questions and migrated questions will appear in the new catalog, but they are not bundled and structured as they had been in the past. So if you want to keep to your past structure of the questions, like having a scheduling in the questionnaires on others, like order tickets, or questions related medical, like there was a question regarding COVID-19 or other questions, then you want to still have them in the same structure of the folders. And after the migration, all the questions would appear in a separate, in one generic folder. Therefore, I recommend take a screenshot of your performance parameters as they are today, and then continue with the steps. So you navigate on the performance sections, catalog, performance parameter, and scroll down and watch and search for where you have questions which are related to that topic. If this is done and you have all that information and took a screenshot, then you can continue with the next step, which is the real migration and starting the migration wizard. The migration wizard is separated in 2 steps. First, you choose all the new questions, and second, you then do the migration. Let's have here the example on the next step. Now, on catalog, you will find that there is a section called questions. The migration wizard can only be used one time, and then it's here. Also, we have a very advanced documentation that explains you everything related to the questionnaires and is also linking to the online help. Now, you see that I have already created in this new setup and for the new questionnaire already some information like a folder structure. I have here medical, I have nutrition questions, and for each folder you define also again the access rights. So for example, for a folder that keeps all the information about medical questions, only people who have access in the person group or as a person and a member of these groups will have access. So only people who are in the group of administrators or medical staff will be allowed to read the questions and also read the replies people give on a questionnaire if they have that access. And write means that you can add here more questions, and manage allows you to add more staff members to get access to the folder section. Of course, there are more activities like create questions or saving as a template, but now we are taking care about moving the questions. So in this case, I want to choose the questions from my old setup, which you still saw here. We had the order question, stress level, training duration, etc. And now we choose in this migration wizard the questions which we want to move from the past environment into the new software architecture. Now read the wizard carefully and then decide and move to the next steps. If I click on next, I can choose the questions. You only get as a proposal questions which have answers, because you copy, of course, the answers that have been given but in the past into the new environment. And now you are asked to choose the questions that you want to migrate and move from the past into the new architecture. In this case, I want to move the question regarding COVID, where I asked the players COVID and about the stress level they are having in a rating scale. Next step is I choose if I would like to turn the replies into a different setup. In the past, questions only could be replied in a slider. Now we have different types of answers, so we could choose a slider, a rating, a numerical whole value, or a decimal number. In this case, I select for COVID, where we had low value 0, high value 1, a rating, and stress level was a rating from 1 to 10, so I keep the slider. Now I decide that these are the questions I would like to move, press yes, and in the last step I click again on yes to finally migrate. This step cannot be redone. Do it once or never. Successfully migrated, we have moved all the steps, all the questions into the new environment. What we will see is in the folder structure now a folder for migrated questions, and here we see the two questions: do you have any COVID systems, and the stress level questions. I move now this question into the folder of medical, so I select here the new content and header and move it to medical. Now this question is here on COVID, and the stress level could be now merged into the stress level, or if again I would like to have the old question in the same setup. Remember, I had here the structure of the different topics, like the stress level was under the folder question and performance. So in this case, I could also create again the category questions and for performance, just like in the past, in the old questionnaires for questionnaire 1.0. And now I move this question into questions performance. Now this has been done, and I have migrated all the activities. And now we are done with the migration. We moved all the questions, and if I click here again on the question, I'm done, and we have migrated all the new questions. What is the next step? After we have all the questions migrated, I can also turn off the old setup, or I can start now with the migration for the last step to run my first analytical reports and stories. This is the next step which I want to consume, that I after the migration was now that I did all the migration successfully, I have access and I'm done. Now I'll show you what are the changes in the new analytical cloud model. All the past analytical stories in SAC are now referring to a new model. So the old SAC stories won't work if they refer to the old questionnaire stuff. In this case, please make sure that you import the new and make the new model SAP S1 questionnaire results model available in Sports One, in your SAC instance. If this is the case, then you can continue with the second step to update your SAC stories and make them visible. So how does it look? If you use now your new questionnaires, like a questionnaire I asked, which features are you interested in Sports One? And you have a selection of checkboxes where users can reply on a checkbox. Then of course in Sports One, you get the results of this questionnaire in here as a dashboard in the visualization. So you click in Sports One on Analysis, and then you select here the new questionnaires, which you will find here under Enhanced Questionnaires. And in Enhanced Questionnaires, you find all the existing questionnaires with some nice features. For example, SAP Sports One Feedback. You can display here the latest results by pressing on this button, and you get the latest results of the questionnaire. Here you see it is player contract for Bernd, and it's for me the other elements. And of course, we can now use that in an analytical story. So in this case, I created on analytics model SAP questionnaire results V2, made that model available. And then this is the corresponding story that you see here, the answer option text of the checkboxes that had been clicked. This is the story that I wanted to show you today in my how-to document. So this is the basic steps which you need to do to get from Sports One in the classical overview to the new questionnaires. I hope you like the presentation and can make use of many new exciting stories with new questions. Thanks for watching and looking forward to hearing from you. If you have any questions, don't hesitate